Support for Sportspage is provided by First Central Bank, full-service banking from 6 locations in Warrensburg, Holden, Higginsville, and Odessa. More information is available on their Facebook page or at the website firstcentral.net. Member FDIC. By the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jennies emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower floor of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. By Parker's Supermarket and Pharmacy, a home-owned and operated store that listens to its customers. Whether it's a hypoallergenic formula or a new exotic vegetable, Parker strives to serve the unique needs of the area. The mission at Parker's is to make grocery shopping a welcoming experience. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics. And straight ahead on this homecoming week edition of the Central Missouri Sports Page, we'll visit with Mules football coach Jim Svoboda about last week's contest at Pitt State and this week's homecoming showdown with Central Oklahoma. Jennies golf is UCM's newest sport, and we'll talk about the first-year program with head coach Chris Port on this week's show. In our Sports Page student-athlete spotlights, we'll meet Mules sophomore running back LaVance Taylor and Jennies freshman golfer Kayla Temple. So stay tuned. Your weekly inside look at UCM Mules and Jennies sports is next. Hello again, everybody, and thanks for watching the University of Central Missouri Sports Page. I'm your host, Shawn Jones, and joining me to kick off the show is Mules football coach Jim Svoboda. Coach Svoboda, welcome back.
Hi, Shawn.
Well, tough loss for the Mules at #1 ranked Pittsburgh State last Saturday, but still an awful lot for this football team to play for here in the final month of the regular season.
No question. It was a tough game. You know, our kids really battled back. It could have got ugly early in that game. There wasn't a lot of things going well for us, and you know, we scored right before first half was over and got ourselves back in the game.
Very interesting when you break this season down. The first 6 opponents the Mules have faced, 27-2 minus their game with the Mules. 3 of those opponents are ranked in the top 10 in the country in Division II. Now, the last month of the regular season, you'll face teams with lesser records, a combined 2 wins heading into this week. But that doesn't make those games any less important for your football team.
Not at all, and a lot of those teams have played very tough competition too, and that's the result of their record. You know, as is the case with University of Central Oklahoma, you know, played a very tough schedule, probably a tougher schedule than we have actually.
Which is hard to believe, but it's true, and we'll get to that later on in the show. Central Oak, the homecoming opponent Saturday at 1:30. 6 of the 7 teams they faced this season are ranked this week in a Division II top 25 poll. So welcome to the MIAA Broncos. Well, let's go back to last Saturday. Not a welcoming tone in Pittsburgh, Kansas, as the defending national champs and #1 ranked Gorillas hosted your Mules. That's a program that's lost 12 regular season games at home in the last 28-plus seasons. We look at the highlights here midway through the first quarter. Pitt's on the move, but you guys get a big takeaway early, and it's big Reggie Dilworth bringing it back for big yardage.
That was a huge play. They were obviously down there in a tight red zone, and we won the turnover battle 3-0, and usually when it's that much difference in the turnovers, you're pretty successul in the game.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, I guess, to swallow. You don't turn the football over at the home of the #1 team in the country, and unfortunately still can't win the football game.
Well, it just goes to show you the strength of their team, and you know, they made a lot of big plays when they had to, and you know, we hurt ourselves in some cases.
Punt game was pretty good for the Mules, and Matt Jordan was really good. There you see a pass over the middle, deflected away by the Central Missouri secondary, as Pitt State's going to try everything they can, and did, to get the football to John Brown, their All-American wide receiver. But here you see Pittsburgh State against your stout run defense, and that really continued in this game.
Yeah, we did a nice job. We were just a little streaky and really in all the phases of our game.
And there you see their All-American John Brown. He scores, puts Pitt State on the board as they take the lead early in this one. There you see Colt Smith making a play with his feet And the good sliding catch by Ron Lloyd, as has become a trend, those guys hooking up with big plays throughout.
Yeah, I was proud of both of those kids, proud of Colt. He was on the move a lot of the day and made a lot of big plays for us.
And again, the Mules continued to move the football, and it was one of those situations where, you know, it was a slow start for the Mules, but once you settled in, the guys got comfortable, you started making some big plays.
We did, and you know, it was we almost dug ourselves out of it. Had a chance there down the stretch.
It didn't look good here. It's 14-0. It's 3rd and 10 for the Mules from the 2-yard line when Colt Smith sheds a safety tackle in the end zone, makes a big play to Ralph Watson, 59 yards.
That was a huge play in the game, and really, you know, gave us some momentum going into the half, and you know, that was something that sparked us and we built on.
Instead of giving it back to them, down 2 touchdowns with a chance to score late in the half, that was the 59-yard play. Here's a 31-yard pass play, the very next play from scrimmage to Ron Lloyd, and all of a sudden the Mules are on the move.
You can see Colt's making some plays there with his legs, and you know, we didn't do a great job handling the blitz in the early part of the game, and he made up for it with his legs.
6'5", 240, racing into the end zone. One of his 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. The extra point here from Jamison is good. And instead of a potential of being down 21-0 at half, if you had to punt that ball out of the back of the end zone, it's 14-7. You have to feel pretty good going to the break.
We did, and gave us sort of some renewed life there, and sparked us for the second half.
Speaking of this is something that I think is just a big play for this defense the rest of the year. Pitt State known for their ability to punch it in from close. They've got terrific linemen, terrific running backs, and you guys stop them stone cold there on the goal line.
It really goes to show you what those kids can do when they make their mind up. We did that twice, and you know, that's something that doesn't happen very often. As you mentioned, the physicality of Pitt's offensive line.
Pitt missed a field goal at that point too, so it's still a touchdown game. And again, your defense comes out here third quarter. Alex Perlin playing for the injured Joe Carter, making some big plays.
Yeah, it was. We kept them pinned down there. That was a good momentum swing as well.
And we'll see the Mules on the move here, as you had the momentum in this football game really at the end there of the first half, beginning of the second half. There's Colt making a play to Ron Lloyd. Colt's just got that great presence. He seems to feel the pressure and know when to get rid of the ball or when to tuck it and run.
You know, he hasn't had a lot of experience, you know, going into his 3rd or 4th game as a starter, and he's really growing fast at the position.
What a run by LaVance Taylor. We'll spotlight him later, following the All-American from out of Jeff City, Elias Logan Freeman, and we're tied in this football game now.
We're in a good spot, that's for sure.
And here you see the Mules on the move. The Mules will actually jump out in front, 21-17 on another Colt Smith run. But then down the stretch, Pitt State able to win the football game. But there's LaVance, just a shoestring tackle from the All-American, Dreiling away from taking that one to the end zone.
Yeah, he had some nice runs in the game. We did some good blocking at the point of attack at times too.
Ralph Watson, nice game receiving as well. But again, the Mules went down 23-21 on a late Pitt State touchdown. Mules on a great drive. Had a 20-plus yard pass play to the Pitt State 32. Offensive pass interference was called away from the ball. Then the Mules were backed up, a false start, then a sack. They give it back to Pitt. Pitt punches it in and scores, and the Mules on the move down to midway through the quarter. But that big call and then a couple of big mistakes by your team following that call, and Pitt State's able to punch it in and win the game 30-21.
You know, it was unfortunate down the stretch there. You know, you got to play the full 60 minutes of the game, and you never know what can happen. I felt like we had a lot of momentum there. I felt really confident in you know, where we were on the field at the time. But those things happen, and you know, the fact is, you know, they get the ball back. You got to stop them and finish the game. And you know, just told the kids after the game they could hold their heads high. I think we didn't have anybody quit, obviously. Positions ourselves to win the game, and you know, sometimes you give your best effort and you fall short.
And I know your goal with your program is to be 6-0, obviously, at this point. But when you break it down, you're 4-2 on the season. Your 2 losses are at #1 ranked Pittsburgh State, the defending national champions of Division II, and now #4 ranked Missouri Western. You've got those games along with a victory over a Northwest team ranked 7th in the country in your rearview mirror. And again, staring at opponents that I know will bring it. I know there'll be teams that'll be ready to go, but don't have the sterling records. This team still has a chance to do some really special things if they can focus 1 week at a time and win out.
Well, you mentioned it there. That's what we're trying to do, and as has been the case all season, just look at this next game. What can we do to make our game better? We feel like obviously there are a lot of things we can do. We can coach a lot better too.
Did you get the kids back early this week? I know, sometimes it's harder for coaches to bounce back than it is for student athletes, but I know they invested a lot into that game. What was their attitude coming back to practice?
Well, especially for the older kids, I think it's a gut punch. You put a lot into this. That's the seniors' probably last shot at Pitt at their place, and what a great story would have been to knock off the #1 team in your senior year. It didn't happen. I think the kids did regroup faster than coaches, to be honest with you. This was a hard one. I thought as a staff, there were some things that we could have done a lot better. I don't think there's a difference in talent or anything like that, so you got to look at yourselves and look at what you can do better as a staff.
It's homecoming week at UCM, and I know some football coaches tend to view that as a distraction. I know, you've always wanted to make sure that your kids focus first on their academics and second on their football, but I know it's something you've allowed your guys to be a part of because it's such a tremendous experience on a college campus, especially one that's built like UCM.
Well, it's Central, and we want to be grateful for the things that are here at Central. And one of those is that football is important, and it gets a lot of attention, and we get a lot of fans, and homecoming is a big deal, and why wouldn't we want to enjoy that and be a part of it? At the same time, none of it would be going on if there wasn't a game on Saturday. So I think our kids get it. Be around it, enjoy it, allow it to help you to play better, and keep things in perspective.
It's interesting when you break down a season in segments. At the beginning of the year, you talked about the fact that your leadership council really wanted to focus on you each week, not who you were playing. Every week it was just going to be opponent 4, 5, 6, whatever the case may be. Respect their abilities, but focus on what you need to do to win. When you looked at those first few weeks, you said, okay, well, they are playing #3 Northwest, a team the program hadn't defeated since '03. You guys got that win. You're playing a Western team, obviously, that was top 5 in the nation, Pittsburgh State, defending national champs, all that. Well, it works the other way, too. Now you're facing teams that don't have the great records, but if you want to accomplish your goals, you got to win those games, as we mentioned a few times, so you've kind of got to keep that same opponent focus for a little bit different reason.
Right. Some of it's about maturity, too. The fact is that you got to expect a great effort from whoever you're playing, and you don't have to watch tape very long against Central Oklahoma to know that they have some good players, and that if they play well and you don't play well, that things might not turn out like you hope. So it's just a matter of respecting your opponent, being mature about the fact that they're going to come here ready to go. Their kids want to win. I'm sure they're hungry to win, and they've beat a ranked team this year.
Don't want specifics, but just in general, facing a physical team like Pitt, coming off this tough stretch through the first 6 games, how's the overall health of your football team?
We've really been blessed. I think we had a great trainer in Ron Dubuque, and Shawn does a great job with our strength program, and our kids work hard, and we practice hard, but we're smart. There's always a balance there, how much you bang in practice, and we try to get what we need out of that so we can play physical on Saturday but not beat each other up.
Central Oklahoma, the opponent, coming into Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field on Saturday at 1:30. New member of the MIAA, tough schedule as we mentioned. Folks may not realize this, Jim. You've been around Division II now for a long time. This is a somewhat storied program. They won NAIA titles in '62 and '82. They've made, I think, a half dozen or so Division II playoff appearances, one in 2003. They've got a gorgeous campus and beautiful football facility. This isn't some rum drum rolling in here. This is a program that expects to win, an institution with 17,000 students that wants to make some noise in this league.
Yeah, they're in a great location there. It's a lot like Central, So they're in a spot where they have high expectations. They're in a good population base, good high school football in the state of Oklahoma, and like you mentioned, they have some tradition. So they have high expectations there.
One thing you do notice when you look at them, one struggle for them has been their ability to get started in games. They've been slow out of the gate. Obviously, your team coming off a loss, them coming off a big loss against Northwest Missouri, and the fact that they've struggled early, it seems to me it would be critically important to get off to a big start this week.
Well, it always is. I think that's an advantage with every game that you play, but just in terms of getting some momentum going and kind of the psychological part of it too, finding some rhythm early. So that's always our intention going into a game, and we hope to do the same thing this week.
Your team has done a good job against the run. They've got a tailback in Joshua Birmingham, who was a Harlan Hill candidate when Eric won it in 2010 as a freshman, and a guy that's an explosive player. So as you mentioned, they may not have a great record, but I can tell you they've got a great tailback, one of the best in the conference.
Yeah, he's an exciting player, and we've faced some good kids. And just talking to our defensive coaches, they feel like this kid may be the best back we've seen so far. They try to get him the ball in a lot of different ways. He's a strong runner. He's got really good balance. He's got good hands coming out of the backfield. But they throw it around. They're pretty balanced, and they played some of the best competition in the country. So they don't have super stats. They don't have bad stats, but I think they're actually pretty good based on who they played.
A lot of talk, obviously, about the weather this week leading up to this game. Who knows? As we tape this, we're still a couple days out from the contest, and of course those forecasts can change if everything doesn't come together, but potential for rain and storms, that sort of thing. How do you prepare for that? Do you prepare for that? How do you handle it with your team heading into the game?
Well, a lot of it is just kind of your attitude going into it, and if you allow it to be a factor, then it becomes more of a factor. There may be some things we do in practice in terms of a wet ball and so forth. Just, we haven't had a lot of precipitation since I've been here, actually, on either practice or Saturdays. We've been pretty blessed, so we're not going to overreact to it. It's the same for both sides, and if you make it a negative, it'll compound. As part of homecoming, there'll be a ceremony Friday at 3:30 to name the football office complex, the Terry Nolan Football Office Complex. Many of our viewers know Coach Nolan, the Hall of Fame coach here from 1983 to 1996, and he was the head coach when they moved into the facility you guys are in now, led the fundraising campaign to really modernize the office with some new equipment and furniture and carpet and those sorts of things. So nice honor for Coach Nolan. I know your guys are going to be a part of that ceremony on Friday as well. Yeah, we're really happy to be a part of it too. Coach Nolan had some outstanding teams here, and is a very respected and revered guy with his former players. They all love him, and so it's nice to be able to do something for him. And he's actually was the last head coach to win an outright MIAA championship here, so we're glad to honor him. And something I know your program is striving to do as well. Our spotlight tonight, one of the guys that's leading that cause, LaVance Taylor, just a sophomore. We're seeing him blossom into a really special player. We are, and he's one of those young guys that we recruited. We're trying to make the transition to being more of a high school-based program, and when you do that, you're going to play some young guys, and LaVance is one of those guys, and tremendous work ethic, attitude, doing well in class. Proud of him. Homecoming's always fun at UCM. Coach Svoboda, best of luck to you and the Mules against the Broncos, and we will talk to you next week. Looking forward to it. Coming up here in just a moment on the UCM Sports Page, we'll get to know the Mules' electric sophomore tailback, LaVance Taylor. And our spotlight on the Kansas City Raytown product is next, right here on Sports Page on KMOS-TV.
Hi, I'm Chuck Ambrose. Join me as I host Central Missouri Tomorrow. In this episode, we take the show on the road as we visit Missouri's Katy Trail State Park. We'll hit the trail and ride a popular section between Sedalia and Rocheport. Along the way, we'll visit with government leaders and a business owner and hear firsthand the impact Missouri's largest state park has had on the people and communities along its length. Join me for Central Missouri Tomorrow.
I choose to be independent, to blaze my own trail. I choose what to create, how to organize, and where to share.
I choose what it means to be a change maker. I choose who to root for, who to work for, and who to care for. I choose red to broaden my world.
I choose red to discover my hidden potential.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
The big thing with the KMOS Ready to Learn program isn't just, come watch our shows, but then they want you to turn it off and read a book. My source for quality children's education is KMOS-TV.
Let's start a riot, let's start a riot. Let's start a riot, let's start a riot. We have said it all year. There is just something special, amazing about this team.
Thank you for watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
And welcome back to Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. In this segment, we shine the student-athlete spotlight on Mules sophomore tailback LaVance Taylor.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I started football when I was 5 years old. My daddy really pushed me to play. Like, it was just a passion. It's been a passion ever since, for real. I just like running and playing. I guess when I was little, I just like running and playing all the time. So my daddy just threw me, football where, that's all you do. So then I just stuck with it since. I did come here straight from high school, but I had more options, like more like D1 options and stuff. It was because of my grades mostly. It was just a rough situation, and they just took me in, and here I am. I am glad that I came to UCM, and I really love the coaching staff, and I love all my players. They're like my family, really. It's like a family environment, and I do love playing for them. My relationship with my coaches, they're like my best friends. Like I can, anytime I need something or they can do something for me, I call them, and we can talk and about anything and everything. So it's a very good relationship. A typical practice for me it's like a lot of drill work. It's like mental, and it's a lot of drills and just a lot of running, I guess. But pretty much a lot of mental work, for real. Like how our steps and how to do all that kind of stuff. Nah, it's kind of off instinct, for real. It's just like you got a set play where, all right, the hole's supposed to be there, and if it ain't, you like, okay, well, I just had to calm down, look for my other options and where else I can go. Or if it ain't nothing there at all, just hit it as hard as you can and see what happens. And hopefully you'll bust out of there. I would describe my playing style as really fast. Everything I do, thinking fast, running fast, just being fast all together. I just try my best to play as fast as I can, as hard as I can. Well, the thing I'm looking to improve personally is I got to get stronger. I got to get a little more built, like a little more muscle, so I can do a little more with myself. Like I can block better and I can even run better, and just being stronger, it helps that element of it. Team-wise, I feel like I need to be more of a leader, since I've kind of been around the ropes for a year and I ain't have to rest or anything. And I feel like I just need to step into that leadership role. My tradition before a game, I just thank God. I just get on my knees before every game. I just go to the goal line. I just thank God, and I pray for everybody, and I just thank Him, because without Him, none of this would be possible. Well, I really didn't ever thought about no personal goals for myself. I usually think more team-wise, but I guess one of my goals is to be All-American, try to be All-American my sophomore year, and just get my name out and to show everyone running back at Central Missouri can be good. Because everybody know we're a pass-oriented team, so I guess that's one of my goals. But I really don't think individual. I always think team goals. I always want to win a championship and stuff like that. So my major is, I'm a business major, and I want to run my own shoe store, like a Foot Locker or something like that. Build an own franchise and have some accessories and some stuff like that. Actually, my whole family inspired me to do what I do now. It's like my daddy was always the one that enforced it. He always was just there. No matter good, bad, he was just there all the time and just pushed me to be the best I could. It's just my whole family, really, but he stands out as the one that really pushed me to be the man I am and the player I am today.
The sophomore from Raytown is second in the league in touchdowns with 8, and he's 5th in the rugged MIAA in rushing at 82 yards per game. Coming up next on Sports Page, we'll take a look at how Central Missouri's fall sports teams performed this past week, and we'll visit with Jennies golf coach Chris Port. All of that's on the way when Sports Page continues right after this.
Hi, I'm Chuck Ambrose. Join me as I host Central Missouri Tomorrow. In this episode, we take the show on the road as we visit Missouri's Katy Trail State Park. We'll hit the trail and ride a popular section between Sedalia and Rocheport. Along the way, we'll visit with government leaders and a business owner and hear firsthand the impact Missouri's largest state park has had on the people and communities along its length. Join me for Central Missouri Tomorrow.
I choose to be independent, to blaze my own trail. I choose what to create, how to organize, and where to share.
Choose Red began as an inspiration and has grown into a way of life. Ever since the Choose Red campaign began in January 2011, students have been at the heart of the effort. All of our ads feature current UCM students. Who better to tell the UCM story than those who have experienced what it means to choose Red and the opportunities they've had because of that choice. In August of 2012, the office responsible for development of the campaign held open auditions in the Elliott Union. University relations staff members met more than 100 talented students who made the decision to choose Red. The students shared their stories and their talents with us in hopes of being able to become part of the official Choose Red campaign. UCM students who audition will have the chance to be in any number of Choose Red campaign materials, such as TV commercials, 30-second radio spots, web videos, billboards, brochures, ads, and numerous print publications. Even Central Man stopped by to add to the fun and excitement of Choose Red Auditions 2012. With so many students willing to be part of the campaign, it's no wonder a record number of students have once again decided to choose Red.
You're watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
And once again, thanks for watching this homecoming week edition of Sportspage here on KMOS-TV. In just a moment, we'll chat with Jennies golf coach Chris Port. But first, let's take a look at how the Mules and Jennies performed this past week. And we start with the 7th-ranked Jennies volleyball squad. They stepped out of conference play and picked up 2 regional wins in the Peggy Martin Challenge last weekend at the Multipurpose Building. Friday, the Gens defeated Arkansas Tech 3-1. On Saturday, the Jennies defeated Pittsburgh State 3-zip in what was a non-conference match. Setter Julia Bates was named the MIAA Specialist of the Week for her efforts. On Wednesday, the Jennies hosted Northwest Missouri at Dr. Peggy Martin Court, and the Gens picked up a 3-0 win. Carly Soika had 13 kills, Annie Riley 21 digs in the victory. The Jennies now an impressive 16-3 overall, a perfect 8-0 in the MIAA, and ranked 7th this week in Division II. The Jennies soccer team went on the road and picked up a pair of wins. Friday, they got 2 goals from Carly Stanley and defeated Missouri Southern 3-1 in MIAA action. On Sunday, the Gens took on East Central in Ada, Oklahoma, and came away with a 3-0 regional victory. Kayla Shane had a goal and an assist in the win. The Jennies now 9-1-2 overall, and they are 5-0-1 in the league. The UCM cross-country teams both came away with first-place finishes at the Central Methodist Invitational last Saturday in Fayette. Mel Wilson placed 3rd to pace the Jennies. Tyler Stuber finished in 5th to lead the Mules. The Mules are ranked 8th in the region. The Jennies are ranked 9th. The Jennies golf team is in their first season of intercollegiate competition as UCM's 17th sport. And joining us for his first visit on Sportspage is head coach Chris Port. Coach Port, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, let's talk about this first season. We're winding down the fall portion of the first year of Jennies golf. Overall, how have things gone?
It's been really good. Up until this past week, every week we've gotten a little better each week. Our scores have gotten better. The kids have kind of got a little more comfortable playing. This week up in Maryville, conditions weren't very good, and we didn't handle those poor conditions very good. But I'm looking forward to this coming week. We'll rebound pretty well up there at Kirksville, I think. Well,
it's really pretty rare in this day and age to begin an intercollegiate program from scratch. You got that opportunity many years as the golf pro out at Keth Memorial Golf Course. Of course, you were a former Mules golfer yourself. Take us through the steps. How do you start an intercollegiate program?
Well, when I got hired in February, the first priority was finding some players. Right. And we were very fortunate. We picked up 3 freshmen, 2 of which are playing in our top 5 right now, a junior college player from Dodge City Community College, and then I had a player on campus, and in June I had a young woman walk into my office who's going to be going to grad school here, and she had a year of eligibility. So I felt really fortunate to pick up Katie Throkeld, my grad student. She's played #1 for us all fall and is just a great person and a good player. After that, it was getting equipment on the ground, getting a schedule put together, starting to recruit for next year. So it's been a busy 7 months.
And I know it was kind of hectic to do all those things that you mentioned, but if you're going to add a 17th sport to Central Missouri, which we did, Jennies Golf made the most sense. I mean, we've got a great facility, the new clubhouse, driving range, and everything was in place for this program.
It is, and honestly, I'm very fortunate that the men's program has such a high profile. They've really helped us in our recruiting, because even if you're a female player out there, you've heard about it if you're around golf circles. So that's been a big plus for us in our recruiting, is that coaches at the high school level know about us already. So.
And I know one of the things you mentioned to me too, Chris, which I think is really important, and you go back, I remember when we started Jennies soccer, back in the 90s, and anytime you start that sport from scratch, it's generally not going to be a team that's going to come out and win the national championship. But I think the key is for those student athletes to understand their role in the history of the program and enjoy the journey. And you've mentioned to me a few times how these are great student athletes to be around and they're enjoying this journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, very few people get to say they were part of the first team in school history. So, the school records that we're setting right now are probably going to get broken down the road. If they don't, I'm in big trouble. But these kids they're part of something really special. There will never be another first class of Jennies Golf, and that's their legacy in the program.
Well, let's look back at some practice footage from out at Keth Memorial Golf Course from earlier this week. The Jennies Golf team, their first year of competition under head coach Chris Port. And as we look at some practice footage, Chris, how much teaching and game improvement are you doing with this new team right now in the first half of the season? Because a lot of people out there know you're a head golf professional. You're a trained PGA teaching pro. How much teaching are you doing with the group?
We're doing a lot of instruction. I think one of the things about Division II golf is you're getting a little bit of that tweener player. I mean, a girl that's coming out of high school that's shooting 80 or lower, she's going to go the Division I route. We're getting, this year as we've started recruiting, we're recruiting a lot of kids in that low 80s, high 70s that still need a little work. We're also recruiting girls that are in the upper 80s. We feel like when a woman comes into our program, they're going to get 3 or 4 shots better every year. So if we bring somebody in that's shooting mid to upper 80s by the end of their junior year, they're putting scores in the 70s for us. And that's kind of been my philosophy on how we're going to build things. We're not going to waste tons of time going after a girl that's shooting 72 every week, because I know that she's probably not going to end up here. We're looking for kids that have a lot of talent but just haven't had that instructional piece to get them a little bit better.
Well, talk about the team. Who's really stood out to you so far?
Well, Katie Throkeld, my grad student, she's been just wonderful to have around the program. She is very loose and relaxed, and she's got the right mentality. This is her one, coming out of high school, she had some opportunities to play, but wanted to go to the University of Arkansas instead, and this is her chance. This is her one chance to play, and she's had a great time with it and has really shown a lot of senior leadership for us. I have 3 freshmen on the team. 2 of them are traveling with us, and then Demi Derry is redshirting this year, and she's been working really hard on her swing. And for her, that's been something I've been real proud of, because when we're on the road, there's nobody else there for her to practice with, and she's made some big strides. My 2 freshmen in the top 5, Kayla Temple and Jordan Thorson, have they've really done exactly what I wanted. Every week they've gone out, and I've seen a little bit better each week out of them. So we've done a lot of good things this fall.
And I think it's interesting, your choice of how you set the schedule for this team. I mean, you could have entered lower level events and, in my opinion, give your team false confidence for the future. But instead, you've gone out and entered them in a rigorous schedule of regional events featuring MIAA teams and the top teams in the region, which I know not only helps your team understand where they need to get, it helps you understand where you need to get as you recruit that next group of Jennies.
It's important on 2 stages. I mean, the freshmen that I have in this program, I want them to understand where they've got to go. And when we go to Northeast Oklahoma and play against Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas schools, they get a real good sense of what it's going to be like. And then even the regional event in Minnesota, that was a great field. There were a lot of really good teams up there, so they're understanding where we're going. For the kids that we're recruiting, I think it's important because I can go out and sell to them, we're playing at competition level that's going to get you where you want to be. We're playing the kind of competition that will make us the kind of program that qualifies for regionals and national tournaments down the road. And if we go out and play a soft schedule right out of the box. I just don't think that our kids get that experience. They're not ready for it in year 2 and 3 and 4 of the program.
Well, let's go back. Last week you took part in the Bearcat Fall Classic. I know it was a tough event weather-wise. I know you guys faced some pretty chilly and rainy conditions up there. Take us through the team's performance, though, in Maryville.
First round, 3.5-hour rain delay before we ever went out, so we warmed up and then came in the clubhouse and sat for 3.5 hours. At tee-off, it's 50 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour wind out of the north, and a light drizzle. The weather started to get a little better after that. We played pretty well. When we've played decent, we've been 25 to 30 shots off of the lead going with the leaders. Jordan Thorson had her first round under 90 in competition, which I thought was a huge step forward for her. So overall, I wasn't really disappointed with how we played. Day 2, we tee off at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's 42. It's a 20-mile-an-hour wind out of the north. It rained on us. It sleeted on us. We didn't handle the weather too well that day. Mazinga Lakes, big greens, a lot of slope. We did not putt well and we did not chip well, and combined with the conditions, we just didn't play as well as we should have. We finished a lot further behind the leading score, and so that's probably the first time all year where I've thought, wow, that wasn't a very good performance by us. But you know, that was our 8th round of the year. So for us to get 8 rounds into the season before I went, wow, I'm not real happy with that, I felt pretty good about that.
Let's go back to the very first event of the year. Was there any discussion from the young ladies, because they are just college kids, of the magnitude of what they were beginning when they walked out there on the tee that first day? Were they just nervous about playing in the first event as college golfers of their lives, or was there any kind of impact of, we're about to enter the first event ever in Jennies golf history?
Well, I kind of embraced the idea that this was our first event. I mean, and as I said earlier, that's the special part for them. Nobody else gets that opportunity. So we kept it pretty light and pretty relaxed, and I think my freshmen were probably a little more nervous than my upperclassmen. You know, that's a nervous experience to be on the first tee of your first college event. To be on the first tee of your first college event of the first event in program history, right. It's a little more nervous.
Yeah. Now this week you close out the fall at the Truman State Bulldog Classic in Kirksville. What do you see that event and your approach maybe heading into that final event of the fall?
This week is about us rebounding from last week. I would like to go into the fall break with a little more positive taste in our mouths. We've spent the last week really working chipping and putting and talking about how you handle poor weather conditions. And you know, we play in the fall, we play in the early spring. We're going to run into these conditions again, and for the kids it's that you got to get in a frame of mind when you're playing in bad weather, and we just didn't do that. So this week we've really focused on how to stay mentally focused when you're playing around in bad conditions, or for the same example of when you're having a bad round, being able to stay mentally focused and play better. You know, the difference between golf as an individual sport and golf as a team sport is, even when you're having that bad round, your score may count for the team. So you got to stay in the round, even though you're miserable with the way you're playing. You have to stay focused, because there may be another kid on the team that's having a worse day than you that you weren't expecting, and your score is going to count. So we talked a lot about that on the ride home, just making sure that no matter how bad it's going that day, what you're focused on is the next hole and trying to put together a couple good shots in a good hole and then finish out your round strong. So that's what we're looking to do this fall.
So now you'll finish the fall this week, and then you'll have a little bit of a break, I assume, and then go into the spring. What is the plan as you prepare for the spring portion of the season?
Spring, we'll be looking to fill some more strong events on the schedule. We're going to go up to Missouri Western. They're hosting a regional event because they actually are hosting the regional. Okay. I believe we are probably going to try to play in William Jewell's event because they are actually hosting that event on the same course as conference. So we're looking to build. This whole year has been about getting the freshmen to where they need to be at the end of the year, so that when we go into next year, they have that experience. You know, that one of the things about starting a program from scratch is when all those kids showed up on campus this fall, there was nobody to tell them what it was going to be like. Mm-hmm. And next year we will have the luxury of a group of 4 kids coming back that will be able to give our incoming players some idea of what they're in for. So it's just building that experience base so that you have something to draw on. And for the younger kids, finding ways for them to shoot lower scores in competition, because once you've shot that lower score, you know you can do it. It's a lot easier to do it the second time, the third time, and the fourth time.
Well, we don't know because it's a new sport. Tell us about women's golf in the MIAA. Who are the teams you're aspiring to beat as you build this program?
Well, with the 4 new teams that came in, obviously Central Oklahoma, I believe they finished 9th at the national championships last year, and they're very strong. We have not seen them. We played at Northeast Oklahoma's event, and they shot 295, 302, so a little under a 75 per person average. They're a very strong program. The schools that were here prior to the new schools coming in, Missouri Western is very strong. We've played against them 3 times, and they have 3 or 4 girls that are going into the 70s pretty regular. Maryville, Northwest Missouri State has a solid program. After that, I think it falls back a little bit. A lot of the teams after that are shooting that 330 to 340 score, 325. We've been anywhere from 346 on the low side to about 370 on the high side. So, you know, it's a strong league. The depth is good. There's a lot of really good players in the league. So.
Well, let's talk about things out at Keth Memorial Golf Course at Pirtle Springs. Man, what a difference a couple years make. I mean, now you've got the gorgeous new Audrey J. Walton Clubhouse, which includes Traditions Restaurants. You've got Mules Golf, Jennies Golf, the driving range, everything. Boy, it's been a transformation. You're the head golf professional for those that don't know, and it's got to be a lot of fun to come to work.
It is. It's been fun. I've been able to go through 2 big projects so far. We tore down the clubhouse and put the driving range in, and I got to be involved in that. And then obviously building the new clubhouse, being involved in that has been exciting. You know, down the road, I know we're going to get the rest of the greens redone. So I'm looking forward to getting that last project done and having 4, 5, 6, 10 years where I can just focus on doing my job and not having a big project going. But from the standpoint of the commitment that the school puts into that facility, it's phenomenal. I mean, we have all kinds of great facilities. And when you go to other places and see their facilities compared to ours, you just can't compare it.
We'll put on the pro hat for just a second before we let you go. Tell us about some of the exciting things going on maybe out at Keth Memorial Golf Course and Traditions heading into the fall and winter.
Well, the restaurant, I think a lot of people think that when winter gets here, the restaurant's closing down, and it's not. Tommy Fatka, our food and beverage manager, is doing a fabulous job out there. Restaurant's open 7 days a week. Friday nights we have special events or a special dinner. We have 7 or 8, 9 different Friday night feature menus that we do. Saturday nights we rent the place out. We've got several weddings on the books for the coming year, Christmas parties, holiday parties, the whole bit. So we stay very busy. You know, what everybody needs to realize is that we're not closing down. We will be out there every day. You can come out and have dinner. You can come out and have lunch. They're starting to expand the breakfast menu. So it's just a great place to be every day. And
I will tell you folks, this guy is a really good teacher of the game. If it's even possible, he somehow made me a little bit better. I've gone from really bad to bad, but he's a great teacher, so take advantage of that too. And Chris, congratulations on the start for Jennies Golf. It's exciting, and I look forward to many visits with you coming up in the future.
Thanks, Shawn. I appreciate it.
In just a moment here on Sportspage, we'll get to know Jennies freshman golfer Kayla Temple, one of the first members of the Jennies Golf program in history. And we'll get to know Kayla next here on KMOS-TV.
I choose to finish what I start.
I choose to accomplish my goals.
I choose red to make my family proud.
I choose red because I can take classes that work around my schedule.
I choose red to advance my career.
The University of Central Missouri Summit Center in Lee Summit is a convenient location for finishing your degree. Transfer your credits to UCM and finish what you've started. Learn more at ucmo.edu/GoSummit.
Load up your golf clubs, grab your spikes, and head out to the first tee. As our way of saying thank you for your financial contribution at the $50 level or higher, KMOS will send you a member card. In addition to great discounts at restaurants, attractions, and bed and breakfast all across Missouri, the member card also offers 2-for-1 greens fees at several Missouri golf courses. Improve your swing while taking in beautiful lake vistas. Or experience the Rumble at America's only golf course above an active mine. Take your game to the next level by playing around on us. Call 1-800-753-3436 and support KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chuck Ambrose. Join me as I host Central Missouri Tomorrow. In this episode, we take the show on the road as we visit Missouri's Katy Trail State Park. We'll hit the trail and ride a popular section between Sedalia and Rocheport. Along the way, we'll visit with government leaders and a business owner and hear firsthand the impact Missouri's largest state park has had on the people and communities along its length. Join me for Central Missouri Tomorrow.
Thank you for watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
Great to be one of the first girls on the first team for the Jennies golf team. It's really exciting. Coach Port asked me to be on his team, and I was thinking about it, and I didn't realize how bad he wanted me until he called me one day, and then he called me the next, and he called me the next, so it's pretty exciting. I chose UCM because, first of all, he offered a great deal of instruction for golf. And they also had the graphic design program that I wanted, and I had not found another college or university that had offered that. So it all worked out really well, and I love UCM. I visited, and it called my name. It was awesome. This year I feel that we've done really great. We got our feet wet. We had to work really hard to make sure that we were up with all the other teams. And it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, but now that we've gotten our feet wet, we have the winter to work on it, and then the next season, I think we can do a lot better. We know what to work on. Coach got to know each one of us, so he knows what to work on us with. My relationship with Coach is awesome. He's really funny. He knows us well enough that he can work with us in different ways. So most people, you have to get to know them before you can work with them, so they know what your swing's like, what your personality's like, if you can take harsh criticism, or how he needs to teach you, because everyone is taught different and you take things differently from each person. I was really excited to meet all the girls on the team. When we finally got to know each other, we kind of became a family. It was really awesome because we get along really well, and we have a lot of fun on golf trips and just here at practice. And I live with 2 other golf girls, and it helps us become more of a family, which helps the team. The more you know someone, the better you can help them succeed as a team. It is definitely a building year. We just pick a team that we're close to, and you work towards succeeding to beat that team, and then you can just work your way up the more you go and work on little things such as subtracting strokes here and there in each person, and you just work at it slowly, and when you work your way up there, it's not as bad as you think. I don't consider myself superstitious, but I find myself doing superstitious things like, I used this glove last tournament, I have to use this glove. Or, hey, I didn't lose this ball, I'm going to use this ball next tournament. Or the same tee. We like to eat a lot, so we're like, oh, we got to have this food while we're playing. But it really doesn't matter, but it's fun to just do little things like that, just kind of a tradition. I look up to my dad. He introduced me to golf. He said, well, if you play a sport in high school, just try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. I tried golf. I didn't really care for it that much until maybe my sophomore year, and I seen myself starting to succeed, and it made me want to play more. So I played more golf and realized that it's really fun to do good, so it made me want to practice more. And I also really appreciate all the friends that I have back home that play golf, that most of them are guys that's a higher level, so they push me to play better. And my sisters, they play golf, and they're right behind me. They are probably shooting just as good as I am right now, and it pushes me to go, because if they catch up with me, catch up with Big Sis. So on a typical practice day, we usually hit on the range. We work a lot on our short game. That's very important. That can make or break your game. Some days we'll go out and play. Some days it'll just be practice day. We do a lot of short game and working on your mental capacity, and because if you don't have that, it will make or break you, and just staying relaxed.
The freshman from way down in West Plains, the home of the Zizzers. She leads the Jennies in stroke average through 4 events, and she'll be a key cog in the Jennies lineup the next 4 seasons as the program grows. In just a moment, we'll tell you where all the Mules and Jennies are competing this weekend as Sportspage rolls on after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Chuck Ambrose. Join me as I host Central Missouri Tomorrow. In this episode, we take the show on the road as we visit Missouri's Katy Trail State Park. We'll hit the trail and ride a popular section between Sedalia and Rocheport. Along the way, we'll visit with government leaders and a business owner and hear firsthand the impact Missouri's largest state park has had on the people and communities along its length. Join me for Central Missouri Tomorrow.
I choose to be independent, to blaze my own trail. I choose what to create, how to organize, and where to share.
I choose what it means to be a change maker. I choose who to root for, who to work for, and who to care for. I choose red to broaden my world.
I choose red to discover my hidden potential.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
The big thing with the KMOS Ready to Learn program isn't just, come watch our shows, but then they want you to turn it off and read a book. My source for quality children's education is KMOS-TV.
Let's start a riot, let's start a riot. Let's start a riot, let's start a riot.
We have said it all year, there is just something special, amazing about this team.
Thank you for watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
And we're back here on Sportspage for one final time this week. And before we wrap up the show, let's run down our upcoming schedule of events so you know where to follow the Mules and Jennies. And we start with a homecoming football matchup this Saturday. The 4-2 UCM football Mules hosting the Central Oklahoma Broncos in MIAA action on homecoming Saturday at UCM. Kickoff set for 1:30 from Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field. We'll have the broadcast on 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, 90.9 The Bridge, and via the internet at warrensburgradio.com. In other MIAA games this week, Truman State is at 19th ranked Washburn. Missouri Southern is at 4th ranked Missouri Western. Lindenwood is at number 21 Emporia State. Nebraska Kearney is at Lincoln. Fort Hays State is at SBU in the MIAA TV game of the week. And number 1 ranked Pitt State takes on 7th ranked Northwest Missouri in Kansas City. The 7th ranked Jennies volleyball team will host 4th ranked Washburn in a huge MIAA match Saturday night at 7 at the Multipurpose Building. So a big homecoming match for Jennies volleyball Saturday night. Hope you can come out and join us for that. Next Wednesday, the Gens stay at home, stay in conference action, hosting Emporia State at 7 o'clock. Jennies soccer will host 19th ranked Central Oklahoma Thursday night at 7 o'clock at the South Rec Complex. Saturday, the Jennies will take on Northeastern State at 7 p.m. in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. The Jennies golf team will return to the links October 14th and 15th in the Truman Bulldog Classic in Kirksville. The Mules golf team will close out the fall portion of their schedule at the Missouri Western Invitational Monday and Tuesday. And the 6th-ranked Jennies bowling team will open their season this weekend at the Newman Mid-States Invitational in Wichita, Kansas. And with that, we conclude this edition of the Central Missouri Sports Page. We hope you enjoyed the show. We invite you to tune in again next week to learn more on the UCM Mules and Jennies. In the meantime, visit our website, ucmathletics.com, for the latest on Mules and Jenny sports. Until next week, for our entire crew, this is Shawn Jones saying thanks for watching Sportspage here on KMOS-TV. Support for Sportspage is provided by Parker's Supermarket and Pharmacy in Warrensburg. Parker's works hard to supply grocery staples and spices to cook Italian, Mexican, Chinese, Indian, and Thai cuisine. The mission at Parker's is to make grocery shopping a welcoming experience for everyone. By First Central Bank, full-service banking from 6 locations in Warrensburg, Holden, Higginsville, and Odessa. More information is available on their Facebook page or at the website firstcentral.net. Member FDIC. And by Union Station, Crossroads to Technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs. Campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, Crossroads to Technology. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.